And welcome, everybody, to the One Trick Hero podcast. I'm saying it very slow because I can't read my script. There we go. This is episode 7, and it is brought to you by myself, Paxfos, the host, and with me are my other hosts, Voxia.
Hello.
And Fish Whisper.
I like turtles.
You should introduce us as your beautiful assistants next time.
Beautiful
Yeah.
is no, because
You could be like a magician, and I'm like, I could be like the showgirl, that like gets
That would
cut in
be
half
neat.
and shit.
My lovely assistants.
these are my lovely assistants, Voxia and Fish. Come on out.
These two lovely ladies.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly.
Oh well, here we are, episode 7, and we don't have any. As we stated in the previous podcast, we don't have any plays of the week for y'all because there was no plays this week. This was the
No plays this week at all.
That was this was the break between stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 2 is going to kick off this coming Wednesday. I believe that's the 21st. Am I correct? Yep, 21st.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Yep.
So it's what we did last podcast. We went over some of
Off with Soul versus the Valiant.
Ooh. What we did last podcast, we went over the standings, we went over the match ticker from the week and all that, and went through the plays. So this week we're just gonna kind of tackle news and some topics surrounding OWL, kind of relaxed conversation environment, just kind of talking about some of this stuff, and then we'll cut it from there. It's not gonna be very long today, so that's about it. Let's see. So this is going to be definitely very free flowy. So if there's a lot of pauses, forgive us ahead of time. We're really just kind of,
There won't be.
we're just kind of doing this, winging it.
Could be right now.
We're
For this
We
week.
guarantee it.
Everybody pause.
living on a prayer.
That's not pausing. You pause and
That's
strike
not
a
pausing.
pose.
I have celebrity
Pause.
pausing.
Celebrity pausing. Oh man.
Wow jokes. We've been playing a lot of World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I
this
was gonna
week.
say there's not even been any plays of the game for us this week. We
Yeah,
just played WoW all week.
well, we have for some odd reason all of the group, us three and a bunch of our friends, we just kind of all started up playing WoW again. So we've been goofing
Yeah, for
around
some
in
dumb
there.
reason.
Yeah.
Time walk.
Ooh, yeah, we did Time Walk Old War last night. That was good stuff. But
Busting out the time capsule, but time capsule.
Time capsule. Oh my god, I forgot about that. It's a good episode. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Overwatch. So, let's go into the first bit of news, which is that and if you've been following the scene at all, you know that this is going to happen. That stage 2, the map pool is changed, which was not unexpected. Anyway, so the maps now are going to be the new assault maps are going to be Hanamura and Volskaya. The new escort maps are going to be Gibraltar and Route 66. The new hybrid maps are going to be Kings Row and Hollywood. The new control maps are going to be Nepal and Lijiang Tower in the rotation. And for tiebreaker, it's going to be Ilios, which is interesting.
It's good for Nixel.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm
My favorite team.
Don't
They
like
like to
that.
lose payload maps and then just go to the 5th game and win it because it's control.
The interesting thing about Ilios being the tiebreaker map is that it's super environmental based, and that narrows down your hero pool by a pretty decent margin. So I find that to be odd to be the tiebreaker.
Yeah, at least for tiebreaking, we get exciting Widow matchups pretty much guaranteed every time.
Yeah, that's
except
true.
for teams that don't really run it. Which
I don't know.
is really
Yeah. Well, this is something that somebody brought up, I mean, a long time ago before OWL was a thing. That Ilios really narrows down the map, the hero selection, because how strong environmentals are. You get a Fair Boop, you get a Lucio Boop in there, Roadhog Hook, Orisa Pull. Those are huge. So if you can run any one of those, that's a pretty significant advantage. And so, I mean, and honestly, if you're a team and you're not as practiced on that, that's something you should be practicing because environmentals are a part of the game. And if you're not as good at that, well, that's that. But for a tiebreaker map, I feel like maybe I don't know. I could be unfounded in that reasoning, but I don't know. What do you guys think for tiebreaker?
I remember at one point I thought environmental shouldn't even be a thing in a competitive game, really. But
well, you can make that
I
argument.
guess I forgot that I had that argument, so I don't remember the reasoning. I think it was more for and stuff. I think if you get knocked off the edge of the map, because there's payload maps you can get knocked off the edge into. There being too much emphasis around like a center point of environmentals can be kind of screwy, but I don't think I've had a problem with it in Overwatch League so far.
Yeah, I kind of like the environmentals because it's just another way to punish poor positioning, and since it's so
Yeah,
team
exactly.
based, and it's
Once-
not
once-
necessarily like just like a straight team deathmatch style game. So like being punished for your poor positioning, poor teamwork, and poor coordination is really something that should happen. That's why I think they're okay.
Yeah, I mean, I love seeing Roadhogs hook people and drop them in the middle of the well. Like I said, I
Yeah.
can't remember why I thought that at one point, but I guess maybe it's because at the time just the level of play was a bit lower, so
Maybe.
things were more chaotic. So it seemed like some of the kills weren't even necessarily because of such a skilled boop. It was just kind of a like matter of fact that shit happened. It's almost just coincidental. But now, I mean, you see it because they'll position so they don't get booped, and then sometimes, like you said, they fuck it up a little bit, and then
Yeah.
you get a player that gets a really nice boop, and that's obviously a skill. So
Yeah.
That was also when I could hook you around a corner or around a wall or through a
yeah,
sign.
that shit was pretty dumb.
Through a map.
So that
You can hook to a
I
different
Through the
map.
map.
strongly enjoyed the ability to do that, and I have since quit playing Hog.
Yeah.
Hook one will bring it up.
I will. I mean, yeah, hog one-shotting just about anybody was one thing, and then hooking around corners. But I really like the mobility of healing while you move. I think that was a fair trade-off in
Yeah,
my opinion,
I
and
like
the faster fire
Yeah.
rate.
No, yeah. Yeah, I think it's fair for balancing. I just got really, really good at that jump hook, and I don't like that I can't do it consistently anymore.
That was good times with that, man. Jeez.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for the map pool. That's gonna be you'll be seeing that first thing this Wednesday. As far as who it's gonna favor, as far as this map, well, one thing we were discussing earlier is these certainly aren't bad maps for tank meta if that does come about.
Yeah, I mean the payload ones and the hybrid like Kings Row and Hollywood, those kind of maps since they're so open, we'll see what happens on those. But Hanamura, Volskaya, Nepal, Lijiang, not only can they, we've seen him be run with pretty heavy tank comps in the future, or I mean in the past. So could be.
We've seen the future.
could be.
I've seen the past.
Yep. Yeah. I don't. And onto the whole thing. Well, actually, we'll talk about meta stuff a little bit later when we go over patch notes. But yeah. So as far as teams go, though, do we see any teams being favored with these map change ups?
Houston.
Houston, definitely. No, I actually had thought about, like, after I got up this morning, going and looking at the results for each team on these maps, and just out of curiosity. But I mean, all the teams are going to practice the maps, knowing that they're going in there. So
Right.
I guess more of a playstyle thing. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it favors any specific team or not. I mean, Gibraltar we haven't seen yet in Overwatch League, so that's going to be interesting. We've seen some of the, like, we did see Route 66 on London versus no, wait, no, I'm thinking of Dorado, I think.
Yeah, you're thinking of
No, that
Dorado.
was-
I was gonna say
I
these maps
swear.
have been in. Oh, you might
Yeah.
be thinking either contenders or preseason.
Yeah, it might have been preseason or something. So
Could be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure there are conclusions to be made, but I didn't do enough research to make any of my own. I think the strong teams are still going to look strong. I mean, I think the change in rosters is going to affect more than the change in maps.
Well, yeah. Actually, excellent segue, Voxia, because now let's go and talk about the next thing we're going to talk about,
Houston,
Yeah.
Greenwall.
which is
Yeah,
Greenwall.
actually, I was going to talk about them first, anyways.
Yeah.
So the Houston Outlaws, they signed a new player for their main roster, Fact Fiction, previous of FNRGFE, right? And then he played for FaZe at one point, I believe, too, right?
The Wiener Corn Dogs.
So yeah,
Dogs.
so he's going for their main roster, and some people were like, "Well, Muma's so good, will he ever see playtime?" And I guess Flame, he himself said that that with having some people get sick during the season for a lot of the teams, it kind of made them realize how important subs can be. But I guess Muma had said previously on a stream too that he doesn't mind, he wouldn't mind having a sub like from the start because there's that motivation kind of thing, right? Depends on the personality, but when you have somebody else in the same role to not only feed off of, because between sets too, you have that person behind the scenes watching the game, and they can be like they can see, oh, I noticed, when you were doing this other person was positioning kind of differently. So you can have that kind of other player to bounce ideas off of and stuff. So it's generally good. But, they
Actually,
can use
yeah.
each other for motivation. So Muma's positive about it. They're not getting it because, Muma's been underperforming. It
was
just
gonna
adds more
say-
strength to their roster.
There was a interview, and I don't remember if it was on a podcast or a YouTube thing. I don't remember what, but Muma was on it. And he was talking. They were talking about Tyrong being their head coach, and they were talking about how the players communicate with each other and how they bounce stuff off each other. So like Mendo, Jake, and like Linkster, they'll bounce like stuff and like ideas and strategies and scrims and stuff off each other and Clockwork and all them. He said the supports, their assistant. Who's the assistant coach for Outlaws again? Do you guys remember? I forget his name.
The assistant coach? Oh,
Yeah,
man, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Anyways, the with the assistant coach, he I guess he does a lot of support, and I guess Tyrone does too. So they have the like Boink, Banny, and all them, and Raucus kind of like bounces stuff off each other in that regard. But Muma, when they talked to Muma and they said like, well, how do you like who's your support? And he was like, well, I mean, the head coach kind of, and he has big ideas, but as far as like micro level like tank play, there's Mumo's really. I mean, they have it's like him and Cool Matt, but like they're doing two different things, two different styles. Like the main tank, off tank are two completely different like ways that they play for the most part. So having fact fiction in there might just help with strategy alone. And of course the ability to substitute.
Yeah. And the ability that if triple tank starts being a serious thing, they've got another guy that's super established that they can run that if that's a comp that happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I mean triple tank comes out a lot on King of the Hill maps anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's kind of what they're lacking a little bit anyway. So
fact fiction made. I mean, he was most notably played Ryan a lot, right? Reinhardt.
So.
Yeah, he was.
So apparently, Muma
known
says
for it.
that he thinks his own best hero is Reinhardt too. So they can both,
Really?
Yeah.
Just run them both. Yeah, that's what they're actually doing. Blizzard is they're repatching in so you can play multiple heroes again. So they're both gonna run Ryan.
Oh my god.
Yeah. If we didn't think it could, I mean, I'd still prefer that over take meta. I think. Anyway, to be honest.
6 divas.
Yeah.
Woo.
It's
So anyway,
high.
the other acquisition they picked up is Kaiser for their contenders roster, and Kaiser they played for Runaway. So
we'll go over contenders rosters in a little bit.
Yeah.
The academy things, we'll go over that.
So Shanghai got some pretty good pickups, or at least they should be pretty good for them. They picked up Fearless, who's a tank. Previously played for the team Element Mystic, who I didn't see any games from, but most recently they placed third in the Nexus Cup. That
was a Chinese team, right? Or was that a Korean team?
It's a Korean team.
Because what were the two? How many Chinese teams were there in the Nexus Cup? There was Miraculous Youngsters, and wasn't there another one?
I can look it up real quick if you want to fill the.
Yeah,
void
I don't
with just
remember, but
a little thought. Hang on.
Yeah,
because the void. Didn't they? Aren't those guys getting held up on their visas right now? I thought I saw something about that.
A few of them
their core was doing that.
Apparently the new acquisitions for Florida and for Shanghai may not see play until at the earliest, the very last weeks of, or late in stage 2.
Yeah,
which is kind of a bummer, but really, it makes sense.
We're having trouble getting their work visas, which was gonna slow it down and prevent us from actually being able to see those guys.
Well, for the Florida, they might be able to.
Element Mystic is a Korean team. They placed third. Yeah, first place is X6 Gaming. Kongdu Panthera placed second, and Lunatic High placed fourth in that one.
Really?
Let's see, for China. Okay, from China there was Lucky Future, LGD Gaming.
Lucky Future is the other one. The two that stuck out. Yeah.
Lao Yinbi, Miracle Team, Miraculous Youngsters, Vici Gaming, Team CC, and that's it. That was all the Chinese teams. The Korean teams were Lunatic High, Kongdu Panthera, Foxes, Element Mystic, Seven, X6 Gaming, Runaway, and Meta Athena.
Oh, yeah. Runaway. Let's take a moment to in remembrance of Runaway.
I mean, some of the roster is still together. They may not.
They might
totally
not disband
split up.
completely. Well, if anybody doesn't know, there's rumors going around from Runner himself on his stream that somebody from Runaway, Project or Runaway. Wait, did they drop Project? Is it just Runaway? It's just Runaway, right? Yeah, it's just Runaway.
I think so. Yeah.
Somebody from them from the team is going to be on OWL coming up. Also,
Okay.
he's not going to be able to be kind of leading, at least as far as we know right now, because he does need to serve his military time. Because in Korea, you have your mandatory military service. So, yeah, it's a little sad that it's kind of that the team's kind of like
Hoxel's too young to be on to play on a roster right at the moment.
Yeah,
but
I
he
think
could get
so.
signed, I guess, but he's too young to play.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'll be
I just more so just that was a good team. Like Runaway was an excellent
Runaway was
team.
awesome.
They played fantastic. It was amazing to watch them. If you didn't tune into Apex ever, I mean, I can understand why the stream hours were definitely not optimal for over here in the States, but man, Vox and I and Fish were working night shift at the time when they were playing, and
That's true.
and man, those were good games to watch. And Runaway did fantastic, and I was really hoping to see them acquired wholly into OWL. Or at least be a full blown contenders team to if they wanted to stay over there. Doesn't, at least as far as we know right now, doesn't look like that. It's unfortunate, but they'll always be one of my favorite teams in the that has played Overwatch for sure.
So back to the pickup.
Yeah,
Fearless is mostly known for his Winston play. So their second tank pickup is Geguri, who's received a lot of attention media-wise for being, the first female player in Overwatch League, which is cool.
It's not. It's definitely not a PR move.
No, she's actually really good.
Because she is actually very good. I mean, she's definitely top tier material.
And they need tanks.
They do need tanks.
Yeah,
They do need tanks.
yeah.
And if anybody doesn't know, Geguri, she was the one that was featured actually on a lot of news articles early on in Overwatch's like inception. She was the one accused of hacking.
Yeah, there were players that accused her of hacking and said if it turns out she wasn't hacking, they would quit, and they did.
Yeah, she had. I think towards the beginning when she was ranking up in the first or second season, she was 80% win rate on Zarya in ranked, and she was playing a lot. Yeah, she actually had to get put in front of a computer, like in a test environment where they were sure there was be no hacks, so that they could see her play to like to prove basically that she wasn't hacking. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean she's definitely good. Should work out well. I mean, hopefully we want all the teams to be as competitive as possible, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
she did play for the Rocks Orcas previously, and she's really, really insanely good at Zarya, but she's also very good at D.Va and Roadhog.
Yeah.
So she'll be really good for that.
She's a good tank
kind of
player.
flex tank
Yep.
position. They also picked up a support by the name of Sky, who previously played under the name Zufanjun.
I've never heard
on
of
Team
Sky.
Miraculous Youngsters. Yes, because it was Zufanjun. He played for.
Oh,
Miraculous
that's right.
Youngsters.
That's right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. I forgot about the
And,
name change. Yeah.
He is known for Zenyatta and Ana, pretty much.
Okay.
He's fills that role of healer. And then their last pickup is Edo. He's a DPS player. He played for MVP Space. It was kind of a more middle of the pack team in the things they did, but apparently he's known for being a pretty impressive Genji. So
I was saying, doesn't he
they're
flex?
picking up some more flexibility in their roster.
Yeah, he can also flex too. I think he could do off tank too, if I remember correly.
Could be.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
just
know
saw
for sure,
that
but,
he's noted for his Genji. So
and actually, him and Geguri were queuing, duo queuing, and on
really?
ranked for a little bit too, just kind of right before they came to Shanghai. So
like
But it's
Fish
neat.
kind of brought up a little bit. Unfortunately, I mean, most of us are probably. I'm definitely excited to see how these players fit in Overwatch League and how they, improve the, or how Shanghai turns out putting them in the roster. But because of, it's not necessarily visa issues. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just wait times that you can't get around. They more than likely won't be able to see play until late season 2 at the earliest.
Yeah.
So, and this is the same for the. It should be the same for the new Mayhem pickups, which are a Saya player, who is a star DPS player known for mainly hit scan.
I was gonna say hit
who
scan,
used to
yeah.
play for Meta Athena. Yeah, I mean, he's got a mean McCree, a Widow, a Tracer. Taimu at one point, I guess, said he was the best Widow in the world.
Well,
vice versa,
if
but
you watched Apex, you would know who Saya player was. I think it was either Monty or it was one of the two was doting on him for his
yeah, I mean,
play.
he's
really
really good.
Yeah.
And the other pickup was previously playing for Meta Athena, and that is Awesome Guy, who's a tank mainly known for playing Winston and Zarya. Oh, they also got a coach.
Yeah,
too,
go
as
ahead
well,
with the coach. Yeah.
Who the name is R2DER, but supposedly the 2 is kind of Korean leet speak for an E sound, so it's some people were saying that it's more than likely supposed to be read as like reader. Some people think it's like writer. I'm just gonna go with reader for the moment.
Okay.
But because it's definitely not R tutor. That's not how it's intended to be pronounced.
For the duration of the podcast, he will be known as R2D2. So.
R2D2 or anyway.
R2D2.
Anyways, oh yeah, but that coupled with I was gonna say that coupled with Zebusai, who we discussed last time.
Yeah, Zebusai we brought up. But yeah, Reader's gonna be an assistant coach for the roster. I mean, he's also obviously gonna fill in a role for more than likely help communication because those 2 Korean players may or may not speak a lot of English. I do not know. But yeah, he previously coached Meta Athena, Kongdu Panthera, and a few other teams, but those 2 were the most notable. I think he spent some time coaching in China for a little bit. He also played a little bit here and there, so hopefully that's good for them, you know.
Yeah.
Dynasty also picked up a new coach, so they have 3 now. He goes by Bubbly, and he used to coach Kongdu Uncia. The other coach acquisition we got is San Francisco Shock. They picked up Junk Buck, who is a coach previously coaching Toronto Esports. The other ones, there's 2 that they're more than rumors, but they're not officially confirmed on either side. And that's Rascal to the Fuel. Rascal, just not seeing much playtime on the Spitfire, and another Spitfire trade, Fissure to the Gladiators. So both of those, the owners have stated they've been in official talks with Jack, the owner of Cloud9. So it's not a rumor, but they just,
By the way, real quick, just to correct us, we said Zebusai, it's Zappis. Zappis, yeah.
Zebusai is already on the roster.
Yeah, because I get confused because Mayhem has Zappis, Zebusai, Zupe, all Z's. With Z's with P's and B's, and it's very confusing.
Yeah.
All right, back to it. Sorry.
Yeah, those were the only letters they bought.
Yeah. They were left over. Everybody else, they figured they'd get a good deal on all the Z's.
That's a good deal. All right, we can only use these letters for our names, guys.
But yeah, so those are more the rumors. They're just not officially confirmed. But Rascal to Fuel, I mean, it's interesting. Yep. They confirmed they picked up AKM. I don't know how they're going to balance as much DPS as they have in their roster.
I was going to say, this is kind of like, other people have touched on this, other podcasts and the casters, but like, what is DPS really what Dallas needs?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not Dallas, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, maybe okay,
yes.
Go ahead. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, it's their job to, scout and see what's good for their team. That doesn't mean they can't be wrong. I just know that they must have what they believe is a good reason for it. Right. So we'll see if it pays off. I personally, I don't know if adding more DPS is gonna do it.
Well, I mean, there could be things going on internally that we don't know about, but from the outside, when you're watching the matches, rarely ever is when I'm watching Dallas play am I like, no, the DPS really isn't doing what they're supposed to.
Well, Effect is pretty good, but the rest have been kind of inconsistent, either in their performance or Siegel's been kind of consistent, but I would say what's inconsistent about Siegel is how the roster has used him, right? Because they haven't seemed to find the specific place that he fits in with the team.
Yeah,
see that.
So Effect is pretty solid. He's always there. He's always playing. Mm-hmm. He's always putting up numbers. The rest of the DPS on there, it seems like they just don't know how to utilize them properly. So maybe some of those DPS are going to be let go and go to other rosters, which is why they're picking up more DPS. Maybe they just want to collect all the DPS so that nobody else can have them. I don't know what the deal is.
Another sound strategy. Maybe they just want to run double hit scan.
Yeah, the strategy is just buy out all the good players. So you
I
can't.
don't know.
Yeah.
They're having a little bit of issues with their other hit scan player besides
Yeah, I
the one
mean,
they
Effect
have.
what
So
express some
Effect's been super consistent, but Taimu hasn't been
hasn't Effect
consistent or on or off.
said some
They don't
stuff
know
on social
exactly what's
media?
going on with him, so I mean, it would make sense that if another really solid hit scan player came up and was available to pick someone up that you think is going to be consistent, at least until
Yeah.
you get it iron out what's going on with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the other thing I saw one of the things I saw that I thought was kind of interesting about that was they were talking about how they might have completely different, almost have two rosters if they want to run a dive comp, if they want to run a death ball, if they want to do
That's
something
also
else.
that's certainly a possibility because I mean London can do that, and we've seen how successful that kind of thing can be.
Exactly. So if they had two teams,
London hasn't advertised any acquisitions, right?
No, they haven't picked up, but
they're just losing 2 players.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. This is very interesting, and as far as I know, the window to trade players or acquire new players is for the entirety of Stage 2. It'll close out at the end of Stage 2. They're doing that so that any kind of player trade or player moving is done before the season is halfway over, so that you still have at least half the season.
So it doesn't affect playoffs too much.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also to make sure that teams aren't gaming it too much, which
I
window
do wonder
makes
if
sense,
Effect will stay on Dallas because I mean he said he wasn't fitting in with the team or something on his own Twitter.
There's definitely been a lot of drama.
Stuff, so.
We won't go into too much of it, but around Dallas there's a lot of drama. It's just between the likes of Effect
but
and
the other one that's
XCC
the works, but basically all buck confirmed. Fissure the Gladiators. That's a really good pickup. Fissure's a great tank who never got to see. I mean, he just got overshadowed by gesture and stuff, but he's a fantastic tank in his own right. So, and Gladiators, I felt that was one of the things they were really lacking. Their tank play and their support play, maybe. I mean, support play, I would say so, but I'd like to see how they play around better tanks. A more consistent tank lineup kind of makes. I mean, everybody have a better time doing their job because I feel like the DPS is pretty solid on Gladiators. Obviously, they could be better, but for the most part, Hydration's a pretty big talent. I mean, he'll probably just keep getting better.
Yeah.
Asher's been kind of inconsistent here and there, but looked pretty good overall. And Surefour.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's really
I would actually say, I'd venture to say that Surefour is maybe the most consistent player in Overwatch, across the board. From day one,
it could be, yeah.
From day one, from the early days back when there was no hero limit, up until now, he has been consistently a very good. He hasn't had super low dips. He's always been amazing. In fact, when Defran was considered the top of the top, Surefour was one of the only ones that beat him in a 1v1. He's just consistently good, and on just about everything he plays, he really doesn't ever have a bad showing. So, yeah, I agree with you on that note. There's still some so like I said earlier, we still have about a month, 4 to 5 weeks left of room for acquisition. So we're probably going to see some other names fly up. There's some other rumors about other players going here, going there. There's been some leaks that we haven't seen all of it. I mean, close. But there's still
a lot of people speculating Defran will be signed to a team soon or something.
It's possible. There's some trolling going on with the Florida Mayhem Twitter, and I think
Tavik,
really? With them I guess it was a big debate, but of Defran going not streaming for a week or a little bit or just for a few days or whatever, just because he needed time. And then there was something going on with the Florida Mayhem Twitter where they're talking about Defran or whatnot. So I don't remember the details, but there's just stuff going around. Basically, it's at the end of the day where there's going to be more shuffling. So definitely be prepared for that. There's still some free agents out there that we haven't heard anything about yet. For instance, Mangachu, we've said his name before. He's an excellent player.
Mangachu. I mean, it's just a fun name to say. It's just derail you for a second. Mangachu.
I choose you, Mangachu.
I want him in Overwatch League, if nothing more than just hear his name be said and be able to say it a lot. Mangachu. It's very
if
pleasant.
you watched Worlds, he did fantastic for Team
Yeah,
Canada.
he played really well.
yeah.
He wasn't even he was playing diva, and his diva was good. He was very good. I want to see Manga
got
Jin.
a pretty
Didn't he
large
also
hero
win that?
pool.
Didn't he win that Pharaoh 1v1 like thing he organized with a bunch of the other pros too? And
Yeah.
like
Probably.
I don't know.
That's
Really
what
I
I
don't
think. That's
remember
where the
which
meme.
pros came in and out of it, but I'm pretty sure he won that.
Well, that's what started the meme that he's a one trick Pharaoh. Which,
Yeah,
you know,
no, I
obviously
mean he just
isn't.
hit what, rank 1, and he was spamming Genji lately
Yeah.
last month or so. So
Yeah.
he can clearly play other things.
Excellent
He can
player.
play all
I
kinds of stuff.
love his attitude, man. He's a fun guy. I'm definitely wanting to see him in Overwatch League in some capacity or another.
He's also the only player to get a kill with a Torb hammer in competitive play.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot
It's
about
not
that. That was
super
beautiful.
relevant, but the fact that he can kill people with
It's
a Torb
pretty
That was during the
relevant.
World
he
Cup.
probably
Wasn't it?
yes, it was during the World Cup.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
I'd say it's pretty
He got a
good.
Torb hammer kill. I just want
Yeah.
to throw that out there with the one trick portion.
Yeah,
I think that's one of those
whatever.
things that's just
Exactly.
so specific and
Mhm.
unique that's the kind of thing
Yeah.
a player should get a trophy for. You know, like
Achievement
not a
unlocked.
big huge one, but yeah, something. Just
but
some
at
little
least a
placard or
solid
some
gold
shit like,
Torb hammer.
"Hey, you were
Yeah.
the only one that did this. Good job."
Yeah, he's good, man. I'd like to see him get picked up by somebody. At least or at least give him a contender slot so he can stay
Yeah.
solid and
Exactly.
bring
I'm
something.
I'm
I can't
hoping.
believe they want to have a place for him, but
Yeah, I'm hoping it's kind of like an AKM deal where stuff just fell through, but people still want him, so they're just waiting. He's waiting on the best deal. I'm hoping that's kind of what's going on right now because honestly, to not pick him up seems a little ridiculous, especially since we've seen that several teams do have flex spots that could be filled.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why he couldn't do that. Unless for some odd reason he's like the most toxic, worst person to play games with in the background and just couldn't mesh with any teams, which I don't see that being the case because he's, a lot of pros like him and he's liked within the community as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't make a showing somewhere. Maybe Toronto. Maybe he'll be on the Toronto, what is it?
Wizards,
Wizards,
I don't know.
whatever it's going to be.
I have no idea what they are.
The Toronto Teetotalers.
The Toronto Winters.
You know what a teetotaler? Teetotaler? I can't remember what the
What is a
connect-
teetotaler?
somebody
it a-
who doesn't they don't drink. And
Oh.
Tito
Oh, I don't know how to pronounce that, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
a person
I
who
know
never
the word.
drinks, yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, what's
a
not
person
drinking?
who
I
never
don't know what
drinks
that is.
alcohol.
I've only seen the word from like
Teetotal.
character select screen in RimWorld. That's the only time I've ever
Oh,
seen
really?
that. word.
What? That's in
Yeah.
RimWorld?
Yeah, it's one of the.
Yeah, it's just
characters.
Okay.
complete abstinence from alcohol.
They get real upset if you try to use a weed farm as like your main source of income in the game.
That's good.
Teetotaler. I wonder why.
Oh.
Anyway, no, the
Um,
Toronto. Shit, I don't know. What's a good T word? I mean, it doesn't have to be phonetic.
Toronto
obviously.
Teslas.
Toronto testicles.
Yeah, perfect. They got balls.
Yeah, exactly.
Mangachu's going to be in charge of the team.
Okay. So that's kind of it for player signings. There's a lot more stuff flying around. We'll cover it as it comes along. But that's pretty much what we got for now.
Did
I'm
you
excited.
just decide we were done? What if I had something else on my notes here?
All right, we're not,
Irrelevant. Next segment.
irrelevant.
We're done.
We're
done.
We're done here.
I just didn't want to. I didn't like that
Assertiveness?
stepping on my toes there a bit, huh?
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
You know what? Vox, you got the rest.
I'm not wearing shoes, man. That hurt. I'm barefoot. All right. Ow.
That's dangerous.
Come on. All right.
All right.
All right, so moving on.
Personal.
The next thing in the news I want to talk about is the Overwatch League Academy teams, and their rosters have been announced.
Woo!
Academy teams are basically like the subset teams of the the
Farm
OWL
League.
OW well.
the OWL organizations. This is going to be their contenders teams basically, and it's I guess it's going to act as like a feed. I'm not entirely certain how Academy works in regular
I mean,
franchises.
it should.
But
From all we can see, it should work almost exactly like an amateur
Yeah.
league does
Yeah.
in
It's just farm
conventional
league.
sports. It's
just
a farm league.
teams. Yeah.
They can
They
go
can-
up, and I think there's no contractual obligations for them. Like, for instance, they don't have to go to their parent team's roster if they get picked up by an Overwatch League, right? You can go from the British Hurricane to the Los Angeles Gladiators or whatever, right? Because that's how it works in conventional sports, right? The front team doesn't have to go up.
I think you belong to I think it's like your parent organization, and you belong to them to a certain extent. But I don't think there's anything keeping them from being able to be signed to other teams.
Yeah.
It's just like they're on the back burner. If someone's not getting good play, you can send them down there. Still getting consistent.
Yeah,
but I think that's one thing we don't know for sure, though. We don't know if they can use these players as subs for their official roster.
I doubt you could use it as a sub.
I assume it's like in other professional sports where like you have to bring them up and declare them onto your roster first.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
If you bring them up onto your roster, then you can use them as a sub.
Yeah, because if it's not declared on the roster, there's no way they would be okay with that.
What is Alorian said Thundercats in the chat? What is Alorian? What is Thundercats? What team is that?
He was saying Toronto. He was saying Toronto Thundercats.
Oh, Toronto Thundercats.
Yeah.
That's actually
what he wants them to be.
I can imagine an awesome logo.
Well, someone already came up with a bunch of like fake logos, but I mean, that looked pretty good.
I can respect the creativity, but I didn't like any of those.
Really? I like the Toronto one. What?
Which one was the? Maybe I saw.
I like the double daggers. It looked like the Tesla icon. I forgot what they called it, but it's cool.
Oh, maybe you saw the Vipers.
Oh, was it? No.
Wasn't it?
No, that was Las Vegas.
It was
it was Las Vegas.
Oh, was the Vegas one?
Yeah, the Vegas one. Yeah.
The one I saw, the one I'm talking about had like Vegas Fortune, and like.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
It's okay. Anyway, like I respected the creativity, and I thought there were like some interesting ideas, but I thought most of the logos just weren't very like. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of them, but I liked the effort. An A for effort.
Yeah. It's not Houston, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But anyway, so go through the teams. You have the XL2 Academy, which is New York Excelsior's team.
My boy Flower will be playing on stage.
I was gonna say, yeah, Flower's gonna be on there. Well, I'll go through the teams and some of the notable players. So for London Spitfire, their academy team is gonna be British Hurricane. Half Cool is the notable person on this team. He's pretty well liked and pretty famous. Yeah.
He's a cool dude.
Houston Outlaws, they're gonna have their
half cool.
Yeah, they're half cool. Yeah. Optic Academy is gonna be Houston Outlaws Academy team, and let's see here, Keller. I think I know who Keller is. Kaiser is gonna be from Korea. He's gonna be on that team. So Boston Uprising, their academy team is gonna be called Toronto Esports.
Yeah, it's literally. Yep. I just saw that now. Interesting.
Well, rip the Toronto dream.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Wait, okay, hang on. I just remembered something. Was it Meta Athena? One of these Korean teams, one of their coaches went by the name Vol'jin.
Yeah.
That just popped back in my head. That's awesome. Anyway.
Amon.
So,
Amon.
Florida Mayhem,
you need to be challenging their backline more. Okay, bad accents aside.
Oh my god. Wait, where's Hodge? We gotta get Hodge in here.
Hodge.
Okay, so anyways, Florida Mayhem's academy team is going to be Florida Fury. The San Francisco Shock, their academy team is NRG Esports. Of course, why wouldn't it be? Yeah. For Los Angeles Gladiators, there's going to be Gladiators Legion, which sounds cool.
Which is cool.
Of note in there is Gods, formerly with Cloud9. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. I mean, it's not worth noting, but there's some drama around that guy, which left that kind of bad taste in our mouths about him. So
yeah.
Well, you would think with a name like Gods, he'd have to be humble.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Okay, and then lastly, we have Philadelphia Fusions.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, their academy team is Fusion University, and they have
Philadelphia Philadelphins. Why is that not their name? That's perfect.
They have Who Are You? From what team was Who Are You on? That was, oh my god.
It's all
Lunatic. He was on Lunatic High. That's right.
Give me 1 second.
No, he was on Lunatic High. I remember that.
Well, he might have been on somewhere else too.
No, it was just Lunatic High. That's it.
It was Lunatic High. And HK Hexa. And Team GH2. But yeah, notably Lunatic High.
Yeah. So anyways, it's neat to see these rosters fleshed out. Kind of, it's neat to see the T2 scene getting a little more attention. They got that Doughboy Fresh logo here. Let's see if I can pull it up while we're talking. The
logo is really good.
Yeah, the logo for Contenders, I almost like that better than the OWL logo. It's got Genji on it, dude. Looks delicious.
I mean, the Tracer's cool too.
Yeah, but anyways, I'm lost my train of thought because I'm trying to look for this stupid icon because I really want to see it.
now.
I mean, I had it linked in the Discord.
Did you have it in the...
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
that article right there with the big Overwatch.
Does Contenders have
logo.
a website? Oh yes, it does. Oh here,
They do.
check it out. Oh, hold on. Oh, come on.
Overwatch
Alright, hold on. I need to go to
.com.
So, Rolf is going to be on the Gladiators Legion, who he played for Cloud9, right? At one point. Well, yeah, both Rolf and Gods did. And then we have another previous Cloud9 alum on actually New York Excelsior's.
Oh yeah, here's the
XL2 Adam.
I'm showing it now. This is the Contenders. Oh, sorry. The Contenders logo. This sweet Genji looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Oh man.
I love it.
Anyways, okay, sorry. What were you saying, Vox? Sorry.
I mean, I was just trying to fill that time while you were looking for that anyway. But yeah, Adam, who also played for Cloud9 at one point, is going to be on the XL2. Another interesting roster acquisition. I guess we didn't really... Well, we're not really covering the Contenders too much, but there's some interesting things in here. Did you point out Kaiser being on Optic Academy? I mean, I mentioned it earlier.
I did. Yeah.
Paintbrush. Man, there's some interesting names in this list.
Yeah.
Paintbrush.
Rob 420. Yeah. We know Rob 420.
So, but anyways, the interesting thing here is that these.
Oh my God! Hang on a minute. So on Fusion University, there is a player, Zachary Lombardo.
Zachary.
It's spelled Zacha, Z-A-C-H-A, capital R-E-E-E-E. Zachary.
Dude, I want him to get an OWL so I can hear I can hear like Monty or Doa trying to say that.
Zachary.
I was trying to see, but I couldn't find it. Do you see if they announced who won their homegrown tournament?
I didn't see
They
I
had.
don't see anything on that.
I may not be a fan of Comcast, but they are definitely running that team pretty well. They're doing some pretty good events.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They
Like
are.
when they tried to have Shadowburn pet puppies. That was pretty funny to me.
Yeah, that picture. I'm like, that's pure PR. But cool.
I picture Shadowrun. I don't want to do this, and Comcast like, no, you're gonna do this.
I like Fraggy in the back here, and he seemed like.
Yeah.
You think
everybody's all happy and having fun, and Shadowburn's just
like somebody's like, Fraggy, you can't eat these.
You think
They're not food. She's like, what?
he's just storming off.
That's a mean like Viking joke.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Not the Vikings
okay.
ate dogs.
But anyways, so basically we're mentioning this because this is feeder teams, farm league for OWL. Some of these players it might be worth noting and paying attention to because you might be seeing them in OWL in the near future. Not to mention
we'll be seeing some of them.
Yeah, for sure. So
did they announce where they're streaming these? Are they going to be streamed on?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure Contenders is going to be streamed. Almost 100% sure. At least going to be streamed through MLG. I don't know what's going on with Twitch as far
I would
as
assume it'd be put through Twitch too.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't see
they
why
already
not.
have the contract, and I mean, it's gonna get at least as much attention as some of the stuff that's on there.
It might be a different channel or something. I doubt
they have Pit on there right now.
Yeah, I mean, I highly doubt they'd use the Overwatch League channel because other, they wouldn't. They'd have
Might
like
just be
a Contenders channel or
channel.
something. Yeah,
I could see that.
We'll see, but regardless, stuff to focus on, stuff to think about in the coming future because, like I said, those names are going to pop up again. And again, this is what's building up the OWL scene, the T2 scene. So
I mean, we know some of them will pop up.
Yeah,
like Flower. I mean, unless for some reason he just became crap, in the time or just is terrible, we'll see him in Overwatch League when he's available.
And even then, I still think they'll take a swing at him.
Yeah, probably. All right, so moving on to our last section of the day, we're going to talk about PTR patch notes. Fish.
Oh yeah, that's me. Okay.
Give it to us.
PTR patch notes. So, hero updates. The first thing on the agenda is Doomfist. His hand cannon is getting changed to go from 0.8 seconds to when you get another charge of it down to 0.65 seconds first charge. So that's going to make it so he can have more charges on it. And with the way he's sort of playing right now, you're using a lot of his abilities more for movement. So him being able to have access to his primary fire more often is going to help with his damage a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's good too, because, you know, like we were highlighting when we talked about the tank meta, Doomfist being stronger could be, you know, somewhat of a deterrent here and there because he's good at getting in there. Now he can pump out, you know, like you said, more DPS more consistently when he's in the thick of things. So
because if he's got a decently coordinated group around him, I mean, he's one of the few ones that can kind of put an end to the Winston dive because he can punch him out of his bubble, he can knock him back out of his bubble. So that's something that can mitigate a little bit of what's going on with there. It's just he's usually you can do his job better with some other roles right now. So hopefully this helps. I'd like to see him in there a little bit more than just an emergency dive onto the point to try to save time thing.
Yeah, exactly. He's really fun to watch him play at a high level, I think. Except the bugs.
All right, what else we got?
Yeah. All right, on to our next thing. May, her freeze is going to go up to 1.5 seconds from 1 second before she gets the that's going to be her slow duration getting changed, and then her alternate weapon fire.
Wait a minute, so her slow duration is it's longer. Instead of freezing for a second, it freezes for 1.5 seconds, or it takes 1.5 seconds to freeze?
The duration increase.
That's a good question. It just
freeze is longer.
Okay.
Yeah, it freezes you longer.
Okay. Freezes longer.
Okay. What else? Sorry.
Interesting. And then, her weapon's getting changed to her right click when she uses it. It's going to be reduced cost down to 20 from 25. So you should be able to get an extra shot off with that too.
Yeah. Just a good tweak.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think she was super weak, but she wasn't super strong either. She had her niche, but that should help, you know.
Maybe just it's like a tiny.
Get her in there a little more.
To me, it doesn't seem like a huge buff. I mean,
but that's fine. I mean, I think
the idea is so she can get more freeze off in between her rounds. That way, if she's having trouble like trying to pick down Genji or Trace or someone with high movement that can escape her, I think the idea is if you get within her range, that they want you not to be able to.
And that's definitely going to be annoying at lower levels, for sure.
Yeah.
But on the pro level, I don't think that.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be like game changing for her.
And then I ran into Symmetra. And
honestly, Moira's just the one that's annoying right now.
Yeah. If we had time at the end, I was gonna highlight something about that.
Yeah,
too.
we will for sure. Go ahead and continue with the patch notes.
Okay. The biggest thing and the thing that I'm excited about is the Sombra changes.
Ooh.
So now, her EMP is no longer going to be blocked by some of the smaller stuff in the game, like signposts, other things that look like signposts. Pretty much anything that's not a wall. Yeah. So smaller stuff, she's still going to be able to throw her EMP through. The big swap, though, is going to be the way her hack works now. So when you hack health packs, they're no longer going to generate charge for your team. You're still going to get the increased recharge speed and the ability to lock other people out of it, but it's no longer going to build her ult that way. Now, her cast time for her hack is getting dropped down to 0.65 seconds from 0.8. Doesn't seem like a giant change. However, it's going to mean she can get off more consistent hacks. And since the change that they're doing to her hack is going to make it that it's now disabling way more abilities, like it's going to shut down movement speed for movement speed characters like Pharah. She's not going to be able to use her boost anymore once she gets hacked. So if you hack
she actually gets
Pharah,
grounded, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So she's not going to be able to have her ability, like her hover ability, is no longer going to be able to be used when she's hacked. So when she gets hacked, because the way it works now is it just stops her from being able to use her boost, launches her in the air. Now she's not going to be able to use her hover anymore. So as soon as she gets hacked, she's just going to start
like
to fall
for instance
out of the air.
that clip we had last week with Dreamcasper off of the edge over there on Oasis, like hanging out on the edge. Sombra gets a hack off. I mean, later.
Goodbye.
Later,
nerd.
Yeah.
So pretty much all of her stuff shutting down your non ability based movement stuff.
Yep.
So like Lucio's no longer going to be able to wall ride when he gets hacked. Also, all of his songs are going to shut down. So he's just going to be a mobile little man waiting to get shot once he gets hacked, which is going to be a really big deal for that. It's going to give value to some of the stuff that it didn't before. Mercy, I think it's going to shut down pretty much every ability you have is just going to be gone.
Does it shut down her ability to fly in her ultimate? I'm curious about that. I'm curious.
It says angelic descent. I don't play her that much to know what her abilities.
That's the space that makes her float.
Yeah, so I thought that was her hover, right?
No, that's where like her normal like slow fall. That so it disables that. Is that what you said?
That's what it says. I don't know if it'll or how it's going to affect her in her ult. I would think it. Well, it just depends. I know her hack stops some ults and doesn't stop others. Yeah. So her ult might be completely.
Well, there was a big thing about like Mercy's ult is a transformative ult, so it literally it's the way it's written. Like there's some ults that change you. Like it's not an item. It's not like an ability. It's literally you're a different person, and Mercy's transforms her. Yeah, right. Yeah. I think Bastion's one of those. So. Or used to be. I don't know. Yeah. It's been kind of tossed around, so I don't really sure what it is now.
I don't know. Some of them, some of the ults it'll affect, some of it won't. Like, it'll strip Lucio's drop when he does it. Yeah. Well, when she EMPs, it strips it. Yeah. So there's stuff that it does and stuff that it doesn't. But the other thing is, just all the movement. Genji, he can't double jump when he gets hacked, so Genji's going to die if he gets hacked. Hanzo can no longer wall climb or try to escape, so that's going to be a thing that gets affected too. That's pretty much just the way her new hack's going to work. It feels like they're trying to move her to be more like you can almost use her like in a death ball kind of scheme, because if she's there, she can be shutting down heroes that are hard to hit for your team, so she can hack a target. Now you guys can all prioritize that target and then drop the target. So it seems like they're taking her away from being that niche role where she just gets health packs, gets herself boosted, gets her ult, runs in, hits everybody with the EMP, and then the team goes in for a fight. So she'll still be able to do that, but it feels like they're trying to make it so she can be used more like with a team and in viable comps instead of just as a certain situations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the other changes too, which go ahead and go over.
The machine pistol. So her machine pistol spread is going to get smaller, so she's going to be more accurate when she fires too. So she's going to get more consistent.
If damage. I remember right, that one accidentally got put on the live servers for like a day.
The health pack got put on too.
Yeah, the health pack and the spread. I'm pretty sure both accidentally, because I played her in a game, and all three of us were in that game. That was the one with the tracer. Yeah, and I just remember her spread felt so much better. Like I was getting a like good amount of the limbs with it, just because it was easier to control. Yeah. But anyway, continue.
It helps. Then her ability, it's called Opportunist. It's the one that when you do damage, once they get below 50% health, you're able to see them through walls and where they're moving. Now, the way that I understand it is any damage you do on a character, and I saw a video that said this wasn't on the PTR yet, but that could have been a little bit dated. But when you hit them with the spread, that so as long as you do damage, now you're going to be able to see them wherever they're going, as long as they're not at full health.
Yeah, it went from 50 having to be below, I forget what the percentage was, below 50%. 50. Yeah, and then now it's 99%.
Yeah, now it's just any damage. Now you can see what they're at.
Which is really cool.
Which it's honestly
very useful.
I was gonna say very useful. Also, I'm not really. That's like a lot of buffs, a lot of micro buffs across the board for her, with the only real downside being that her hacked health packs no longer count towards her ult charge. Mm-hmm. It definitely makes her more consistent as far as.
There's still one more buff too.
Yeah.
The translocator.
Yeah,
that's right.
They brought her translocator up from 15 to 20 seconds, which is still a buff, but I mean, you're kind of waiting if you're kind of good at her anyway, you're not really gonna.
Yeah.
The 20.
It just gives you
it's
more
like a
flex
tweak.
room.
Yeah, it gives you
not a hard buff.
Breaking. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm wondering how this is going to flesh out on the pro as far as the pro scene goes, because that's a lot of stuff. Well, first of all, her being a more efficient killer outside of using her ult, that's pretty big. I think the accuracy thing is a really big thing across the board.
It is just PTR too, so this will probably all get changed.
I'm sure. But I'm just if we take it at face value, the Sombra change is going live. The hack affecting movement speed, that's crazy. I mean,
I like these changes personally.
No, me too. Absolutely.
Instead of her being more of a defensive kind of hack the health back, sit back in the back line and just kind of do a little interference, but mainly be an ult bot. She's more how I how I envisioned her when they like first announced her as being kind of a a sneaky kind of but an actual damage.
Yeah.
You're not the same. You're not a 76 or McCree, obviously. I mean, you're not the same as the others, but your primary goal is still kind of DPS, but you have ways to interfere with the team too, instead of just being that backline thing, which I really like. Because that's how I wanted her to be played in the first place. Could be too powerful. Well, I mean, you'd have to see if it went to live and so on. But
the powerful thing about her, obviously, if you're going to talk straight damage, Tracer is the best there is. But when you're talking about that, but the thing with her, honestly, because I mean, you do a light spray on anybody on the enemy team, and you got vision. And granted, that can get healed up very fast, especially with good supports. That can get healed up very fast.
Yeah.
But then
that could be too strong for sure.
Possibly, if she's in the back line, she gets a decent halfway decent spray. All of a sudden, she sees where everybody's at. She can get good comms out. Not saying it's not hard to do that now already. It's just one of those things that's another tool that could be a little strong. I don't think so. I think it'll be fine. But
well, obviously, it won't affect uncoordinated play much.
Right.
But with good communication, anybody gets. I mean, you have a Bastion. They shoot somebody to 92%, and they go around a corner, and then you have the Sama being like, "Oh, hey, they're over here still."
Well, the other
because
thing
the
is,
Sama can see them
Does it work on other people's damage?
No. Well, yeah, no, it does. I'm sorry, it does work.
I don't play her very much to know whether or not.
Because it always worked. It always worked that as long as they were below the threshold, you could see them. It
But
didn't matter if you did the damage, right?
a lot of other people think that this is also a negative change, which I can see the idea of. I can see why they're saying this is because a lot of times if a Sombra was able to see somebody, that was an easy way for you to go, hey, this person's low. And everybody jump on that target, or for Sombra to know, hey, I could probably kill that, and then they'd go for it because they see that they're at a certain percentage. Now, if you see them in the red through a wall, I mean, it could mean they could be pretty much at max health. So it's almost in a way less information. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be fine, but it's definitely gonna change the way.
Yeah, I guess
it's
I
played.
could see that. There's no indicator for whether they're at critical health or just at 99% health. So
we'll see how it plays out. It'll be interesting. I do think the hack and the left click, the fire, that's big. Honestly,
yeah, the spread is great. It felt so good.
Yeah, the spread's great, and then the hack time, shortening them down even more. Like honestly, that is like.
And
that's hard. Getting hacked.
I mean, you look at the numbers, and it's 0.15 of a second difference, but it feels so much more than that.
Well, yeah, and oftentimes that's enough reaction time for someone to quickly turn around and get a shot on you to interrupt the hack, but any faster, and your reaction time has to be pretty insane.
But I like that it cancels. I really like that it cancels movements too, because
Yeah, I do like that.
Not only can she be more offensive, but she also she becomes a better answer to certain things.
Yeah.
And I say that as a Tracer main. And, a really good Sombra is one of the few things, even in the current state, that can counter a Tracer. So.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how she gets put into new comps now. Like if she's used maybe as like a Tracer replacement or something like that too.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a replacement, but like an option that you can use.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she's really good on. I mean, Volskaya is. Well, I mean, the patch won't be for stage 2 anyway, but Volskaya, for instance, where there's kind of close indoor spaces, and you have those two big health packs really close to each other. Yeah, she's gonna be even more useful there.
What you got?
I almost shut down.
Yeah, good shit. Oh man. But yeah, so those are PTR changes. Obviously, subject to change. Blizzard's done it before; they can do it again. But if they go live, I don't think those are bad changes across the board. I think it's going to be good. I don't know if it'll make a dent in any kind of tank play. Again, the meta, I know a lot of people are looking for a meta answer right now, but the meta still hasn't settled. We don't know what it's going to look like until for a little while. We have some ideas. At least in the collegiate level, we've seen triple and even quad tanks still definitely around. It doesn't seem to be, as of right now, as strong as it was back in the day, which is good. That's good, but definitely still something to keep an eye on. I'm again. We harped on this last time and the time before that. Let's keep an eye on Moira, and let's admit, not, you know,
Yeah, she's
she
gonna
definitely. I still think, even if the meta does balance out to be pretty good, I still think Moira's in need of a tweak.
Oh, I do too. But that was what I was going to bring up.
For sure.
Wins. Wins is our guy. He tweeted, when it comes to spectating, Overwatch has always been a beacon of clarity, and I'm glad Moira was introduced to push that fact even further. Seriously, we can't see jack shit. Now that, I think Overwatch isn't that hard, when you get used to it, but Moira's orbs, he's just saying her orbs kind of just add, needless clutter and shit. But the main thing I like about this is his subtweet is also Moira is grossly overpowered. So there's some minds out. I wouldn't say grossly overpowered. I think he's just, I think he's embellishing a bit. He
keeps getting killed by random warps flying at him.
Well,
but
he does have a point though about the visual clutter. I thought they were pushing the limits a little bit with Mercy's spreaded, tentacle healing that she has. I thought that was pushing the limits, but it still was on that bleeding edge of that's okay. But when you start having random objects flying all over the place, it does distract, and you want to keep that about.
Not even just a viewer, it's a fucking player, man.
Oh yeah,
we all know. Fucking orb coming. I mean, the noise too. Just fucking anywhere. You can't ignore it because it's gonna. If you're a low health person, it's just gonna kill your ass or get you to half basically by being anywhere.
Or if you're not, it's just gonna give her ult and she's gonna murder you with that.
But I mean, getting used to those things. I'm not about to complain about more abilities being in the game and shit, because that's always, what is anything? Oh, that's clutter. They shouldn't add anything else to the game. Yeah. But her orbs are stupid.
I think it's gonna be a new strategy.
Stupid.
Run Valk with her coalescence and just crash the other team's computers.
I think there's something to be. I mean, well, first of all, when people say that Overwatch is hard to follow, to an extent, I kind of see what they're saying, but at the same time, it's about learning the game, and I think once you get to that point, it's fine.
I think a lot of it's just a lack of trying.
Well, think about basketball, for instance. If you don't know what to look out for when you're watching basketball, it's too fast-paced. It's way too much going on too quickly, and to you, it just looks like guys running up and down the ball back and forth on the court. But what's happening in between each move and each player's, in those split few seconds it's taking from the ball to get one side of the court to the other, there's a lot of strategy and a lot of things happening that are very smooth, very fast, very quick, and it's very hard to pick up on unless you understand the game. And the same thing has applied to Overwatch. If you don't understand it and you're looking at it, I use the classic example of when Shroud tried to pick up Overwatch again. He was like, I can't play this, it's too fast. And that's because he's not into it. But obviously, if you're into the game and you play it, and the more you watch it, it just clicks.
Well, yeah.
You know what to look for.
I mean, obviously there's people out there that have, some people get motion sickness when watching almost any shooter and certain movements or FOVs played in games and stuff. So outside of a limitation like that people can have, I think most of it is just a lack of trying. It's similar to going to, a restaurant and you're like, oh, I hate, fucking whatever thing. And so you already set in your mind that it's difficult and you can't do it. So then when you go to try it, you're not actually giving it a shot because you didn't go into it with an open mind. So you're sitting there closed off, just getting pissed off about everything. Whereas really, if you were just like, oh, hey, let me try watching this. Okay, it's kind of confusing. Let me watch more of it. Oh, okay, now I'm getting it. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's like if you fucking read a book or an article and you came across one word that you didn't understand. You're like, oh, this article's shit. I'm not reading it. Which, sadly, there's plenty of people who do that kind of crap. But, it's just... It's like, come on, if you put in a little bit of effort and just open yourself up a little bit, I'm sure you could get it. I mean, what was it, Uber had said that people claim that Overwatch is too hard to watch, but then there's that 4-year-old that's in the stadium that's for games who can watch it and understand it. So
and that's not...
if you want to claim it's too hard for you, but a 4-year-old can do it, you're just insulting yourself.
Well, and it's not to discredit people's arguments about needing visual clarity. They did, and Blizzard has responded to this. They've done, the team colors. They've improved spectating
that
system.
Was huge. Yeah, I think a lot of team colors helped a lot.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. And it's
the overhead health bars.
Yeah,
I mean, I even thought the spectating was less than good before all of those changes came in. I could still, understand it, but it was more effort than I would have liked to put in watching something.
Yeah,
Well,
that made sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they've made changes, and they should, and that's where we're coming to the argument of Moira with her orbs and the tentacle healing and all this stuff. Those are all things that should be taken into consideration, and Blizzard should be actively reducing the amount of visual clutter. Absolutely, 100%. But the other side of that coin is also just get good, get good, get good.
Yep. Okay, good, man.
Get good, guys.
Yeah,
Get
good.
So yeah, I don't know. I fall in the middle of the road, as with most opinions and topics that come up. I fall around the middle of the road, as do you guys. So.
I mean, it's what's supposed to be. What's our time at now, right?
I think we're about wrapped up. Yeah, actually,
Okay, so we're gonna talk about Hanzo, or are we gonna wrap this up?
Hanzo.
Yeah, it's not on the PTR, but the Hanzo changes that they're trying to work on.
Oh yeah, well there was a blue post on that. Yeah, so
there?
yeah, no, there was a blue post, but what I'm saying is,
I'm excited.
Hanzo's supposed to be getting a rework. Basically,
we've done that for a while, right?
Yeah, well, and that's something I've actually, I don't know if I've said on the podcast, but before we started the podcast, before OWL, that was one of the things I was talking about with some friends of mine is, Hanzo I think is going to be one of the ones that needs a rework to some degree or another, because he suffers from just not, he suffers from having a weaker toolkit than most, and especially when you're talking about projectile, what I'm trying to say is he's like a one-trick hero.
What we're trying to get at is currently, without scatter arrow, he's completely useless because he doesn't have consistent damage he can put out.
I wouldn't say completely useless. He
take away a scatter arrow, he's going to be completely
irrelevant. He plays
irrelevant.
corners. Playing the corners when you're playing against other people with corner. Nobody plays corners better than Hanzo. Hanzo is the corner master. If you're trying to pick the corner for shots, Hanzo's going to get you. Also, recon arrows.
He's gonna get you. He's gonna get you. Hanzo's gonna get you.
And recon arrows very good, but I feel like his E was missing something to really put him on a lot, like to put him on a more mainstream approach, more so than other heroes. So
plus, it's also just a frustrating ability to play against.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
It's not frustrating in the same sense that something that's high skill, high reward, or whatever. High risk, high reward, high skill. Yeah. Those things being frustrating to play against are frustrating because they worked out better than you. Scatter shot, with the amount of times that an arrow can just bounce off fucking 3 walls and hit you in the head somehow, and that kind of shit, it's not like, it's so broken and is like retarded, but it's just, it's not very good for a competitive environment. Because a lot of time too, it's not even used the way you would think a scatter arrow. It's just like you point it specifically at the ground, and you can just one-shot a tank. What the fuck? That's not good. It's always been annoying as hell.
I know they were talking about giving him the ability to jump to the side and give him a little bit more movement. I think the thing is, if you take scatter away from him, every character that can dive is going to get on him so hard and quick. Yeah. Currently, without any recourse, and he's got nothing to do but to land a headshot, which is pretty hard to do when someone's right in your face and you're playing Hanzo. It's a super difficult thing to do to begin with, and he's got no way to move. So if they give him somewhere where he can kind of create space or create distance and then do it.
I think
you're on it. I mean, I kind of agree with there. I think
how many tracers?
His scatter shot, I feel like originally was intended to be a similar a solution to the same problem that Widow had, right? If she doesn't have her burst fire, when she's not scoped, right? When somebody gets too close to them, they're just kind of shit out of luck, which could be just an okay, downside for a sniper. But if they want to give them something else, but scatter shots, generally not really used in that sort of way. It's not an oh shit button. It is sometimes, but a lot of time it's just if you shoot it right under somebody's feet, it's almost a guaranteed kill. Like it feels like they intended something different with it, and it's not the way it hasn't worked out in the game the way they originally wanted it to be, which is why they're changing it. Which is why
I agree that it should get the swap on it.
Well,
but yeah,
I agree.
But you should still have something.
I agree with the change. I agree with the change too, but I don't think it's I don't agree with it for the same reasons y'all do. I don't think that removing scatter shot removes his ability to handle people at close range. In fact, I think the closer range the better for him. It's a lot, unless you're talking about, I mean, even with Tracer or Genji though, we've seen top level Hanzos be pretty consistent with their arrows. As far as that's concerned, it's more that they don't
I've
it's
also
more
seen Linkser pick off people from a foot away from him too. That doesn't mean that 90% of the people don't use the SMG instead when they get engaged on.
well, no, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, shit, we
I'm
see
just-
Widows
I don't know.
fucking charge in with their grappling rope and try to finish people off with their SMG sometimes.
Yeah.
It's
I'm just saying that if they take a scatter, he needs a tool to be able to handle getting jumped on, because just having the ability to headshot, as someone who plays
I
like
think
Zenyatta
Blizzard-
all patch, you're blind to this because he's the only other character that just has the ability to just kill when he gets jumped, and this is only recourse. Everyone else has an ability to handle somebody if they jump on him that hard. Like, and I'm not saying it has to be an attack ability. I'm saying like the ability to like or to like disengage. He's got to have something he can.
I think
get
that's what
some
I think
distance
Blizzard
with.
thinks that's what wall climbing is.
Yeah, but you have to be on a wall.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is he
Well,
needs the ability to disengage, get on a wall. It's like, not necessarily Tracer. If Winston jumps you on, you're on Hanzo, and you don't use a scatter arrow,
I
you're
don't
completely
know.
done.
If you give him any more mobility, I think it's broken.
But like I said,
Ah.
at the same time,
He's-
I think maybe he needs some tool to deal with it.
I
But
like the mobility as an option of like, because I know they were talking about making it so he could jump vertically in the air, and that's what it was. It gives you a tool for barriers. That's the reason I
Yeah.
like it, is because on his arrows now you have a barrier tool. So if you can get up above it, it's just like wall climb, but it's without the wall. If you get in the air, you can now have a downward angle against shields, and I hate shields.
Well, I guess
So-
another problem I had with it thematically is that it doesn't really. It seems a little bit odd, just kind of shoehorned in there a lot of his stuff. Whereas I mean, this is gonna sound super cliche, especially with the Avengers movies being around. But like, I thought it'd be kind of cool to give him like a quiver that has different tools. And so you cycle through it, and you have like 4 or 5 different types of arrows with different cooldowns, of course, and they all do something different. Like
I agree with that.
But
I
like-
just
like-
think that
yeah.
it should be something that's relevant for when you get dived on,
What
like
about-
a
what-
knockback
what about a-
arrow or something.
what about a grapple hook arrow?
Yeah, I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
See,
I just mean something that he can break an engagement.
I'm
from
like in
someone
the
diving
middle.
him.
I'm kind of in the middle between. I don't think it's wrong for him to have a tool to deal with somebody getting on his face. I just think that, it obviously shouldn't be very strong. It should be
Well,
like,
yeah.
specific, like if he uses it right, he can get out with it, but it shouldn't be something, which is where Scatter Arrow is at right now. It's not OP, but it's like,
Well-
it's one of those things where it's more of an offensive thing than a defensive thing, even though it feels like they designed it with the intention to be defensive. But at the same time, he doesn't need the tools to be too strong, because he's a
Well-
sniper. That's the downside of
Yeah.
being, a sniper like a Widow. If somebody jumps on you, you have to kind of like, shit hits the
Yeah.
fan for you. So you have to do something
Well-
really quick to get out of that situation.
The other thing is, I think there's a lot of Blizzard is struggling to try and pull a lot of their old design philosophies out, because when they designed the game, obviously, first of all, they designed it with no hero limit.
Mhm.
Excuse me. So that's one thing. 2, they designed it with this whole offensive defensive thing to be like they actually thought defensive heroes should be used on defense, offensive should be used on offense. That's obviously not the case. The game has changed, the way it's played's changed, the way the meta shift worked out, the way everything works is not based around that. That category is void, null and void. But you can tell a lot of characters were designed with that concept in mind.
Yeah, I mean Torbjorn.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Symmetra,
Torbjorn
hello.
Symmetra, exactly. And I think that is something that needs to be addressed too. Or 1, 2, class identity. Wow, my
Class identity.
wow podcast stuff is leaking out. No, for as far as like the hero identity though, like you have Sombra, her entire kit kind of fits that theme of being like the hacker, the technology girl kind of thing. Tracer, everything she does involves the movement and the time travel. Everybody has this like this theme about them, but with Hanzo, it just kind of felt like it was kind of shoehorned in there. It doesn't really fit like any kind of
I mean,
any.
I see what you mean.
You know,
he's like badass archer guy, but then his abilities don't feel very cohesive. Like his abilities all like do a thing, obviously, and they feel like there was an intended purpose, but the kit itself feels more like a collection of abilities than a kit specifically designed for a goal.
It's same thing with
right?
same thing with Symmetra.
Take Tracer's abilities, right? They're obviously designed so that, I mean, she's ultimate flanker. She goes in, she gets out, she does damage, she can throw a bomb to finish somebody off. They're all designed around her like ability to flank, and like
Yeah.
reposition like
Yeah.
really quickly
Well,
to help her flank.
and like
Sombras, like you said, they've been working on it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, like,
I agree. Hanzo's kit is just kind of weird.
Yeah, my thing is like, okay, so like Torbjorn is an example. I mean, granted he's turret base, but he's what's the word I'm looking for?
Cohesive, the one that just
No,
said?
he's like the complete package. Like his turret, the way his repair works, the way his armor packs work, the way his ultimate works, the way his gun works. It all kind of bundles into this one complete package that works together.
Mm-hmm.
But like Symmetra, her theme is like order and all this other stuff, but like it's kind of like, oh, she has turrets too. Oh, and a teleporter. And a shield generator.
Everything about her is chaotic
it's like,
as shit, honestly.
Yeah,
the way she even plays,
yeah.
like good Symmetra's player, chaotic as hell. She's not about order at all.
Yeah, I
She's
think
about disrupting.
And that's why I think like heroes like Hanzo and Symmetra need a rework to get them kind of to have a cohesive kit, but also to balance them out better, make them a little bit more viable in situations that they should be, because they're used in very select situations now, if at all. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know if it's like, I remember it was a dream, but I had an ability. I had a dream where Hanzo had an ability where he shot an arrow. I think it was his ult in my dream, but he shot an arrow and it like stuck some, like if they were near terrain, like if a wall was behind them, it would like stick them to the wall or like stick their foot to the ground and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I want to introduce more CC into any game, because that went really wild in different patches in WoW and stuff. But something like that would be kind of a cool tool. Right, because that could be for disengage.
Yeah.
You know, like what if he shot, he aims down, shoots him like in the legs, and then they're like, they're not stunned to like flashbang, but they can't move. You know, like they're locked in place.
Or something.
That'd be a good idea is to have like can you have like a pinning arrow? So that's like instead of to replace it, is you have this pinning arrow. So imagine you have like a Genji or a Reaper coming in on you, right? You pin arrow to him to the wall, he can't move, back a little bit out of range, and then aim, and he's pinned there for a second. Aim the headshot, get him, boom.
Yeah,
something
something
like
similar to the Junkrat trap, but with range.
Yeah,
it's like a flashbang, but they can still use abilities. They just can't move.
But
so like a shootable
still shoot
Junkrat
you.
trap.
I'd say, but the
so
caveat,
it's like Junkrat's trap, but you can shoot it.
But the caveat is you'd have to be near a wall behind him, kind of like similar with the Doomfist, where he gets the extra damage when they're near a wall. It would have to be near a wall.
Well, I
or
guess,
a solid
unless they
well,
made
then
it so
because you
that
could play
the
his whole
floor
kit
could be
around
wall,
walls.
too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. That I'm okay with, because then that, even though he loses his scatter, he still has a way to disengage and be able to break.
Which also works pretty well with the recon arrow. He can see they're coming around the corner, pin him to the wall. And
and then the team can bounce.
I mean, it's good for team play too, because it's like a flashbang, but kind of a different.
Yeah.
But again, me being generally playing squishy DPS, I don't know if I want to give more people the ability to lock me in one spot so I can die, but
Or you can get you do that. You get a
if I can time warp out of an arrow sticking me.
Yeah,
I guess it's the same thing as a Junkrat trap, though. Really,
get a boop around a shield,
but it just works differently.
Take the arrow and kill him out of position.
Yeah. Well, that'll about do it for our theory craft session. So maybe we should make it a new section.
If anybody were listening and is a game designer and wants to just hire me for that one ability, I'm open to business.
Oh my gosh, obviously. We're almost like in an hour and 20 something minutes.
Yeah, that's why I tried to stop it like 30 minutes ago. It's like, we're about to talk for another 30 minutes.
This was supposed to be like a 40-minute podcast. We went over the news real quick. Jeez. Okay. All right.
I'm done. Yeah, I'm definitely done. I was done a little while ago.
Yeah, I'm sorry. All right, sorry everybody, but we're gonna go ahead and shut it down now. But all right, that's gonna wrap it up here for episode 7. Thank everybody. Hey, go out and thank everybody.
Thank everybody.
Thank everybody. No, but seriously, thank you guys.
We got Thanksgiving coming up in like 9 months, 8 months. Yes. I'm bad at that. Yeah, so go ahead and be thankful.
To get pregnant for the holiday.
It's never. Yeah, exactly. You have a whole bundle of joy to be thankful for.
Okay, all right. Mm-hmm. Thank you everybody for watching the show or listening if you're listening on a podcast app or whatnot. Again, as always, if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, or anything they'd like to see on the show, feel free to leave a comment or a message or whatever on Google Play, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. Or you can send us an email, onetrickheropodcast@gmail.com. Thank you everybody for listening once again. Any last words, Vox, before you die?
Shit.
In the raid tonight? We're not raiding tonight.
There's a raid tonight?
No,
there isn't a raid tonight. I'm going to go eat dinner soon. I'm gonna go eat food.
Ooh, dude, actually, yeah. I have a leftover taco. I got a double-decker taco. I'm gonna eat
Watch
that.
the NBA like All-Stars thing that's going on.
Was that going on right now?
Yeah, it started 39 minutes ago.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll tune into that. Alrighty, we're out of here. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.